Hey guys, it's Dave Salturi here, and today I wanted to talk to you about what I really sound like and how that could help you find your real voice. So just recently, my friend's mom told me, "Hey Dave, your voice kind of sounds different from what I remember it sounding like from years back. Did you go through puberty again or something?" And I'm like, maybe that is the case. Maybe I went through a second puberty. But then I realized it was something else. And factor number one, I realized it is self-concept. So what is self-concept? According to psychology, it's basically the way we see ourselves and how we respond to the impressions of other people to us. My impression of myself is that I'm a fairly young-looking guy. I think I look really young. And I just figured that that would be directly proportional to how young my voice would sound like. In fact, I went to a big media studio before and somebody told me, just from the way you look, I know what you're gonna sound like. But in my experience, that's not been the case. I've seen big, huge guys who've had tinier voices than, say, people like me. I really have. What I realized is that I've just had this impression of myself as a young-looking guy, and it's changed what I really sound like. The thing is, that impression of me has only gradually changed through the years. It's barely changed since when I was 15. And when I was around 15 years old, I was a huge fan, and still am, huge fan of this shonen anime genre, which basically caters to young boys. We're talking about Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, so on and so forth, wherein the male protagonist is usually a young boy who's got dreams and wins through fighting spirit or the power of love or the power of friendship. And I always shared my ideals with these characters, and I made a connection with them and basically put myself in their shoes. And what happened, basically, was I was watching this show called Gurren Lagann, and the male protagonist was voiced by the amazing Yuri Lowenthal, who was one of the most respected voice actors in Funimation and all those studios in the world. And he's got this certain male voice that it sounds young and calm and kind of dweeby, and I just kind of got used to that. And I thought, if I got that voice, maybe I would be able to bag a lot more roles like that in the shonen genre. Which, to my surprise, was a reality. I was actually bagging more roles that involved male protagonists and so on and so forth. And another influence was Vic Mignogna. All these years I've been a fan of the guy, but I can't pronounce his name. But basically, he voices Edward Elric in the English dub of Full Metal Alchemist. And the thing with this guy is, for me, he was a paradox. He's a teenager. He's like 15. I mean, the character, not the voice actor. But his voice is something that the ladies squeal over at the conventions, and they're like, Vic, we want to hear your voice! And he's like, I'm not short, I'm fun-sized! And basically, he's a combination of hot and scrawny, and I don't know how those two things go together. So I tried to adapt a bit of that voice as well, and I kind of got this certain rough texture, and that's kind of mixing over with Todd Haberkorn's Natsu Dragneel as well. And before I knew it, I had this assortment of generic shonen male protagonist voices, which I thought was what my actual voice sounded like. Now the thing here is that right now I am in my almost mid-20s, and I actually sound different, yeah. So this is what I really sound like now. Really, when I talk in real life to people, it's just when I get a burst of energy, my pitch kind of goes up a bit, you know. But I can control that, and so this is what I really sound like now. Wow, it's fairly different from what you guys have gotten used to and what I have gotten used to. But the thing that I've found with this new normal voice of mine is that I'm actually very at home with this. I feel very comfortable, there's no strain in my vocal cords, it feels like it's coming from the diaphragm, and I like the whole resonance thing going on in my head. But yeah, I kind of got used to this voice so much that I have been cast for a lot of young male characters, and even a sound engineer told me, "Sir Dave, you know what? You're the only male voice actor that I know who's been cast for young boys." And I was like, wow. That must be a lot. That must be practice at work, because normally they wouldn't cast little boys to voice the young boys. They would cast adult females to voice the young boys, and in my experience, I have been voicing little boys for quite some time, and that I think that's pretty cool. So, in spite of this not being what I actually sound like in real life, at some point in my life, this was my normal voice. It's just that I've gotten so used to it that through the years, through almost a decade, I have not replaced it. But yeah, now I kind of realize this is what's more natural to my vocal cords right now, but I've really gotten used to the high pitch thing. So another thing I'd like to talk about, aside from the self-concept thing, is basically performance awareness. When you're in front of a microphone, the tendency is for your voice to change. So when I talk to people, my voice is a little deeper, but when I'm in front of the microphone, I'm normally like, Dave Siltura, voice actor for video games, and it just kind of goes higher. So go ahead and ask yourself that. Is this what I really sound like right now? Is this my normal voice, or is this just a voice that I created based on my preconceived notions of myself and how others see me? There is nothing wrong with a voice that you've gotten used to. In fact, that's a great thing to add to your arsenal of voices, but I do recommend that you find a voice that is now natural to you, because that will also broaden your vocal range. And in the long run, that's going to be a lot healthier for your vocal cords. So yeah, if you guys like this video, comment, like, and subscribe. And I hope you get used to my new natural voice because I'm still a growing boy. So that's it, and take care and mabuhay!